afternoon and welcome to the second hour of BNC Live. I'm Tishani Wetlow. We begin in Virginia, better yet, Virginia. My goodness, get that word out. Senator Joe Manchin doesn't support President Biden's $1.7 trillion reconciliation bill. Last week, the president was optimistic about passing the massive spending bill, but the West Virginia Democrat has been non-committal about the package since Biden released the framework. Senator Manchin reiterated some more major concerns on Monday.
Simply put, I will not support a bill that is this consequential without thoroughly understanding the impact that it'll have on our national debt, our economy, and most importantly, all of our American people. Every elected representative needs to know what they are voting for and the impact it has, not only on their constituents, but the entire country. That is why we must allow time for complete transparency and analysis on the impact of changes to our tax code and energy and climate policies to ensure that our country is well positioned to remain the superpower of the world.
All right, joining me now is Jeff Guillot. He's a political strategist. We want to talk about Senator Joe Manchin demanding more time to evaluate Biden's spending bill. What's your reaction to the West Virginia senator who doesn't seem to be satisfied? How do we make him happy?
I really, at this point, don't know what's going to make Joe Manchin happy. I mean, do we have to move Disneyland into West Virginia? Does he need the Trump Presidential Library in West Virginia?
Seems like it, right?
I don't understand. I feel like the ego trip of being the most powerful man in Washington has to get old at some point. Because at this point, the notion that he hasn't had time to thoroughly read the bill yet, and thoroughly understand the text, really seems like it's just another bargaining position. It's just another diversionary tactic to get more of the goodies he wants for his constituents. And to a certain degree, I applaud that move. I mean, every U.S. senator and representative should have the desire to make sure they bring home the pork, so to speak, for their district. But at this point, you're talking about a much larger constituency, i.e. the entirety of the American public, who needs this bill done and needs the accompanying infrastructure bill that clearly is not going to move without the other.
Jeff, you mentioned that he's one of the most powerful men. I mean, is he really? I mean, he's just the only one not in line. Anyone could be Senator Joe Manchin, right? Out of the 50.
Yeah, theoretically speaking, I mean, Kristen Semina of Arizona has certainly tried it, but he has, for a wide variety of reasons, given his moderate worldview, given the fact that he represents a state that Trump handily won both times, he's been able to carve out this position for himself, and the entire nation's agenda today falls squarely on the shoulders of Senator Manchin. And, in a lot of places like here in New York, it is a very consequential election day today. Reminder for everyone to get out there and vote if you haven't already. And what does this vote look like if things don't go well in Virginia or in New Jersey on a statewide level? You will lose even more momentum. So, I mean, Chuck Schumer is going to have a real, get it together moment with Senator Manchin, because the clock is ticking here, and the American people need this legislation.
Yeah, Jeff, I heard someone call Senator Joe Manchin a lobbyist versus a politician. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think an important part of every legislator's job is to be a lobbyist, right? I happen to be a lobbyist myself, and we inherently do the same thing. It is their job to go out there and petition government for the redress of the grievances of the people within their constituency base, and to make sure that the appropriate amount of resources come back to that state. And I think that during this lengthy process of negotiating and writing this massive piece of legislation, the other 49 Democratic senators seem to be content with the amount of resources that are going back to their districts. Why can't Joe Manchin be? So I think he's enjoying his 50 minutes of fame, his moment in the sun. Use whatever term of art you wish, but the American people need this to happen, and I feel like further diversionary tactics are only going to be at the expense of an overwhelming majority of the American people who strongly support what's in President Biden's package. I mean, most of this stuff is approved by over 80% of voters. You're not going to get much better than that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. A large majority of Americans do support this massive bill. All right, Biden told House Democrats, speaking of the president, last week that the spending bill was a done deal. What message is this sending that Manchin is still requesting more time despite the president's optimism? And on top of that, the president's failing popularity as well. His poll numbers are he's not doing well.
Right, and you're speaking to the second part of your question first. I mean, today's election, especially in the two states where there's a gubernatorial race, Virginia and New Jersey, are very much going to be a referendum on the president's popularity. They say the only poll that matters is the one on election day, and despite the fact that President Biden is not on the ballot today, his policies and this dilemma very much is. And I think that, I don't think today is going to be a very good day to have a D next to your name facing voters in those places. And that's only going to further undermine the momentum that this has. And what, Senator Manchin has been able to do very successfully is manipulate the fact that the president's polling numbers were not good and essentially Bigfoot the president of the United States. He has more control on the fate of this package than the president himself does. And that is a referendum on and a failure of leadership on a variety of levels.
Yeah. Do you think that will actually tilt the political climate in the GOP's favor?
It certainly looks that way, and it certainly, if you look how close the Virginia governor's race is today, I mean, it certainly seems to be moving in that direction. I mean, polling I've seen in all three states indicates that the independent liberal voter that came out to defeat Trump last year, they're on vacation, they're elsewhere, they're asleep, they've gone into hiding. I'm not really sure where they are, but I'll tell you right now, there's no indication that they're voting today.
Yeah. All right. So there's talk that liberals in the House could withhold their support in an effort to put some pressure, I guess more pressure, on Manchin. He's going to turn into a diamond, all the pressure he's been under, right? To support the spending and economic package.
West Virginia is known for its mining, so I'm sure you're used to that.
Good point. But Manchin made it clear again, as we've just been discussing, it's not going to work. Let's take a listen together.
Holding this bill hostage is not going to work in getting my support for reconciliation bill. Throughout the last 3 months, I've been straightforward about my concerns that I will not support a reconciliation package that expands social programs and irresponsibly adds to our $29 trillion in national debt that no one seems to really care about.
All right, Jeff, now we talked about this earlier in this conversation, the American people overwhelmingly supporting this bill. I mean, is this some kind of political game that you think Senator Joe Manchin is playing at this point, him and Kristen Sinema?
It's got to be. I mean, it really is the height of hypocrisy to blast House progressives for holding a bill hostage when you yourself are the one holding the bill hostage in the other house. I mean, like, just the ripe hypocrisy in that statement is almost breathtaking. And furthermore, when you talk about the expansion of social programs, it is Senator Manchin who got paid family leave removed from the reconciliation package. Another thing that 80% of Americans support. Another thing that every Western democracy in the world provides, other than the United States. And yet we're not going to do it. We're going to go another year without doing paid family leave, which further puts us behind on the world stage and is frankly embarrassing, all to fulfill the political whims of an individual who, let's face it, represents about 2% of the American population.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, great conversation. More importantly, thanks for joining us. We look forward to welcoming you back.
Always a pleasure.